Okay, so we're on the Sefer, page Mem Ches. No, Mem Tes. Mem Tes. We're up to Mitzvah Hasei number 6. 6 Mitzvah Hasei that you commonly transgress when you speak Lashon Horah. Everything we've written till now is even if you're saying the Lashon Horah about another guy, the Gnus, privately between you, Beinoi, Vein Atzmai. I guess between you and who's the other guy? Has to be somebody else, right? Who's Beinoi Levein Atzmo? The guy you're speaking about, maybe? Is that Lashon Horah? If you say to somebody, you're not saying bad about it, you're saying to him. I mean, it could be a lot of other things, but is that Lashon Horah if I say you're a shegitz? Right, I don't know. What does it mean, Beinoi Levein Atzmo? I'm assuming it's between him and another. But if he goes to join, and there's a taiva, a shtuckle taiva, you don't want to miss out, you don't want to feel like you're not one of the guys, whatever. If you go to join what he calls anshe resha, evil people, and he's not talking about people of horns, it's talking about people speaking Lashon Horah, Balei Lashon Horah. In order that he could speak bad about someone else, or he wants to hear the raid. However, Gama mitzvah says shel uboy sidba. There's a mitzvah say you should be dovak to Hashem. What does that mean? Chazal. And I think the Gemara or whatever the Chazal Gemara asks, is that possible? Hashem is Eisha Chelas. How could you be medabek in Hashem? So Chazal learn it means the stabek bechachmei haTorah, to join, to connect yourself with chachmei haTorah, lahasmid b'yeshivasam, and regularly hang out with them. B'chol oifen find them in any way you can. Do whatever you can to have relationships with chachmei haTorah. Feel lecha v'lishtes tamid chachamim, to eat with them. Do business for them. Whatever you could do to create a relationship, you're fulfilling the mitzvah of voice sidbak. The reason behind it is so you should learn from them if you hang out around them. Yeah. If you do the opposite, instead of joining, connecting, building relationships with Chachmei Torah, you're rather creating a relationship with a group of Rishoyim, and on the bottom, there's a little star, so certainly what's common, by the Seina Rabbim, the Shabbos Kodesh, Achasuda Shlishis, Eid Yen Shul, Eid Shalosh Shudas, and now you got to wait for Ma'ariv. That there are groups of people that are learning Torah. So the Laim Day Torah, we could assume what are they talking about? They're talking about Torah. The other people are not Laim Day Torah, they're not people who generally learn. So what are they gathering? They're gathering around Mistama, the given, most probably Mesichim Minyoni Havlei Olam, talking about, I don't know, the news, Havlei Olam. Ubevadai, and certainly when they're discussing these type of things, misgan there. haLashon divrei Lashon Horah v'halos v'litzanos. What it results in is Lashon Horah, halos litzanos, levity. Imkain misha parish mahabali Torah. So if you go away from the group of the Bali Torah, and you go to hear what they're talking about, to hear their empty chatter, certainly transgressing the boy sidbak. And that's besides the over on Alosa say, of don't go after the groups, the rabbim, for evil. We already mentioned that. He says, and take a look there. In Ois Daled, Masha Kasam L'Shem Tavos, Rebbe Eliezer HaGadol. Rebbe Eliezer HaGadol wrote a tzavah for his son. And there he wrote, we already went back to this once, but we'll do it again. He writes there, he wrote to his son, to Hyrcanus. B'ni, my son, don't sin among those who say bad about others. Because when those words come up to Shamayim, b'sefer nechtavim, they're inscribed, they're written into a sefer. And all those who are in this group are also nechtavim b'shem chaburas resha. They're written as a gathering of evil, chaburas resha. So you're certainly, transgressing that when you do this. But he says, and even let's say no, it's not like there are people who are learning the Torah, and you can assume that what they're discussing is Yerushalayim and Musar or a good kasha, right? Or to go to these people who are just standing around and talking about whatever. He says, well, let's say there isn't. You don't have that choice. There's no learning Torah, right? Mitzvah Rabbah says the Chofetz Chaim, it's a very big mitzvah, lachsein piv, to keep your mouth closed, relation b'yichidi, and sit alone. And not to go over it. Those groups, and there is a certain, I guess, where people, right? There is a certain netiya to go over to people, to be together with people, to hear what people are talking about. But we have to be real. And he says the reality is that those people are not going to be talking about Torah concepts. They're going to be talking about just what's going on. And when you talk about just what's going on, invariably you're talking Devarim Asurim. Chazal taught us, Kol rega v'rega, that he already quoted it somewhere. The Vilna Gaon writes this, quotes it. For every moment, that you keep your mouth closed. You merit in Olam Haba to the Orah Gonos, the hidden light chain, that nobody, no Malach and no Bria is able to evaluate to the greatness of that Orah Gonos. And that's for every moment. Opportunity to speak, Lashon Horah. And you close your mouth. You're zeicha to that. Let's go back up now to the top of Mitzvah Saseh 7, Zion. V'chol zeh, afil shloi b'beis hamedrash. This is
What happened?
Oh, I thought I froze.
No. I'm pausing
You
it.
got up.
Are we still recording, or you want to restart the recording? All right. So he says, but if you're in the basement, you should fear, you should have covered year of the Beis Hamikdash. Ubeis Hamedrash Sholonu, says the Chofetz Chaim, our Batei Midrashim, Gam Kein B'chlal Mikdashu. They're also included in Mikdash, K'moshim Mavur B'Paiskim. Paiskim tell us, and it's not, Apostle Leroy. Mimisha Shochenbay. I think the Gemara asks, you're not supposed to fear the Avonim and the Eitzim, the walls, the Avonim. You're supposed to fear the one who dwells in the Beis HaMikdash. And that means Hashem, by the way. And that's why you're not supposed to do, your bills. Kiyum shal mitzvah, unless it's a cheshbon of mitzvah. Kan kuba shal tzedakah, kedaima, if you're dealing with the tzedakah account. Hoshke also behem schoik v'hitu v'sicha b'teila. And certainly it's also in them any type of partying, schoik, levity, it's sicha b'teila. Just moving, that something that I think needs a big tikkun in our Torah. in the shuls and in the base measures. We're not talking about during davening. During davening, so there's a big chizuk, daven during kriyas haTorah, talk during chazor toshat, talk during davening, etc., etc. But what about beforehand and afterhand? Right? What about when you go into a base measures and you're just schmoozing around? Not pashut. V'lo says Shum tonight says there's halachas, certain halachas. If you build a base measures or the shul with a t'nai, there's certain things you're allowed to do in them. Right? That allows you to do it. He says, but here, the t'nai doesn't help for these things. So certainly, those that dabar Lashon Horah, you're certainly not allowed to speak the Lashon Horah. True, Hashem is all over the world, but we have this concept of the Shekhinah. We have this concept that there are places where Kaviyochel Hashem His presence is greater, right? The shul is a certain place. The Beis Hamikdash is where we went. Shmiras Hashchina, and so certainly there to speak Dvarim Asurim in front of Hashem, and you don't have the fear of Hashem that's there. Besides the Aveira itself of Lashon Horah, so you're certainly transgressing this Isur of Mikdashi Taro. This that you're speaking Lashon Horah, you're showing that you don't believe that Kadosh Baruch Hu will put his Shekhinah here. And therefore, if you have this audacity, I feel even when you're in the king's house, one thing, they can say the same thing. This is for you, Ron. Okay, they say the same thing about Eretz Yisrael. They have to live on a much higher level of Torah and mitzvahs and Eretz Yisrael because we're in the Beis HaMelech. We're in Hashem's land. It's one thing in Chutzos, but if you're in his castle, if you're in Hashem's home, and there you transgress, certainly it's much more serious. You have to be so much more careful. And here, the base measures, wherever.
Oh, we just lose him again. Oh, there he is.
Well, that's cute. Okay. Okay, so certainly your Oivan Mikdashai Tiro, which is Kadosh Baruch Hu's dwelling place, if you go against his ratzon and you speak things that he answered. Okay, we have time. Let's do the Hagah. This is what the Zohar says. Someone who speaks in the shul secular words. No, it's not Torah, not Tefillah. Woe to him that he's expressing perut, separation. Baile de Gora Mehemanusa. Woe to him that he's, I guess, lessening his iman. Baile v'chulu, etc. The achse that he's expressing, he's showing the less alakah, that he's showing that there's no God by his actions. And he's not here. If you had the emunah, if you believed that in the Beis HaKnesses, that's where Hashem's presence is, then how would you do these things? How would you talk to every chol? Just picture being, now we don't say the queen, we say the king, right? In England, if you're in the king's palace, you're standing in front of the king, and you turn to your friend to schmooze about, the latest gossip, the latest news. Today he doesn't have much power, but in those days they would top off your head. It'd be mashmar b'malchus. And that's what we're hearing here. Well, you're showing you don't have a chelik. You don't have fear of Hashem. Oh, I'm reading the bottom now. Okay, and
So
you're acting with bezayun.
So if you were to do these, if you were to do these Devarim B'Talim in I don't know, somewhere that's not there, you're making it sound like it's better. Like, what happened to
I'm making it sound like it's yeah, it is better. It's less worse is maybe a better way of saying it. Listen, take the example. If you're in front of the king, you have to live on a different level. There are things he could do outside of the palace that you can't do in the palace, right? And if you act in the palace in front of the king in such a way, you're either saying the king, you don't fear the king, or he's not the king, or you don't think he's there. One of those things, because you can't act such a way in front of the king when you step out of the palace. So you could act that way. That's what
Right.
it is. No?
But that's what I'm saying is that, but that would negate the idea of Shavisi Hashem and Neged Tami. It's that it's his ever presence.
True. That's why, Ron, I was careful to say that we do have such a concept. It's true. It's no one saying Hashem is not all over the world and Hashem's presence everywhere in the Shmiras Hashem at the summit. Yes, Hashem is everywhere, and therefore we need to realize that's how we use Hashem, that we're not allowed to do things, you can't do our favorites, you have to do mitzvahs, true. But there is a concept of Shekhinah being Shora in certain places, right? When we had a Beis HaMikdash.
And that's why
there was a mitzvah to go 3 times to so to speak, be seen by Hashem and to see Hashem, so to speak. That's what it says. Shalosh Pam Hashem, always pray Hashem. There's such a thing, however you want to understand it, that the Shekhinah, we say the Shekhinah never left the Kosel. What does that mean? He's everywhere. How do you understand that? Everyone goes down to the Kosel because the Shekhinah never left it. Because there is such a thing where, I don't want to say too many words because I don't know the right words, but we do know there's places where there's Shekhinah, where Kadosh Baruch Hu, Kaviyochel, his presence is closer, is felt. It's a place where you could connect easier.
A higher concentration of.
Yeah, but I don't know how to say that about Hashem. So, but it's a place where Hashem makes a, I don't know. He said, this is my house. The
even Shavisi Hashem is always written in a shul.
What's that?
Even Shavisi Hashem is always written in a shul.
Right. That's right. So therefore, the Chazal, drew a parallel, and halachically, the Beis Medrash has the status for these halachas. Like that's why we go davening in a shul. But you davening in a shul. It's davening in a shul with a minyan is not the same as davening outside. Not in a shul with a minyan. Besides the minyan, there's a shul there's an inyan to go to a shul. Even if you let's say you can't have a minyan. It says in halacha you're supposed to go down in the shul alone. The shul is a place of tefillah. Shul is a place where there's so certainly to say spit in Hashem's face. That's what you're doing when you speak dvarim asurim in His palace when you're close up. Okay, so now we go to Shmiras haLashon, and I have my place on Perek Daled.
Do you have the next part involved, or did I miss it? It says,
no, I stopped it. You didn't miss it. You didn't miss it. In Zion, you mean?
In Zion.
No, there's more, but we'll do it tomorrow.
Okay.
Because it's already late, and I want to do a bit of Shmiras haLashon too. We'll continue that mitzvah tomorrow, Be'ezus Hashem. So, page Chav Zayin, I think, in my sefer. Perek Daled. Bo Yivar Koicho shel Lashon Horah. We're going to discuss here. We're going to explain here the power of Lashon Horah. Amal Gadol Koicho shel Lashon Horah.
Oh, sorry.
This is obviously in a negative way. That it's considered equal. The 3 big averos. As Gemara says, Erechin Daf Tesvav. And in the Medrash, Tana the Rabbi Shmuel. The Tana from the Beis Medrash, Rabbi Shmuel said, Lashon Horah. Anyone who speaks Lashon Horah, Magdil Avoinus Keneged Gimel Averis. He's being Magdil Averis, parallel to those 3. Who is it based on? It's based on a drasha. Until it says Lashon Midaberes Gedolis, a tongue that's speaking like big. So we have what's called like a hekesh. This is a drasha, obviously. Yosef said to Eshes Potiphar, how can I do this great Avera, Ubishvichas Dama, by murder, it says, Godel Avoini Minnesota. That was Kayin Tashem, I think. Is my Avera too big? So we have what's called a hekesh, the word Godel. Godel. So the Gemara, the Medrash learns that speaking Lashon Horah is in the same league. It's coming to teach us the Lashon Horah is more difficult than those three Averis. Dava Acher, I guess this is all the Medrash. If you kill a person, you've only killed one person. But someone who speaks Lashon Horah, he's killing three people. Hamasapre, the one saying it. Vamakable, the ones accepting it. Vanemrolav, and the one it said about. Where did you learn this idea? Doeg Adoimi came and told Shaul that Achimelech gave sustenance, gave provisions to David HaMelech. Shaul viewed David HaMelech as a Morid B'Malchus. Shama Lashon Horah al Achimelech L'fnei Shaul. He said Lashon Horah about Achimelech, it's the king of city, in front of Shaul, and Ergush Lashon. And all those three got killed. Shaul Shekiblei, Achimelech Shenem Alav, and Doeg Sha'amori. Shaul Shekiblei Shenem Mar, it says Vayom Shaul, V'gaimer. Achimelech Shenem Alav, it says by him, Shenem Mois Thomas Achimelech. Shaul says that put Achimelech to death. The Doeg Sha'amori, Shenitra Mid'a'ilam. That he was like out of the world. Shenem Agam Eli, Totz Chol Netzach, you'll be destroyed for eternity. Milchai Olam Umbi Garamai, and it's from eternity. Lashon Horah, who caused them to lose it? It was all Lashon Horah. Okay, we'll stop here.